The battle for autonomous dominance is heating up. Tesla robotaxi versus Waymo. And Waymo has been firing off announcements like crazy. Waymo is now operating in 6 US cities, testing in 4 more, and just announced another 14 new markets for 2026 to 2027, including Minneapolis, Tampa, and New Orleans. To some, this looks like Tesla falling behind, but don't be fooled. As ARK Invest Brett Winton points out, even if Waymo somehow reaches 6,000 vehicles by 2027, a generous assumption given they only have 2,500 today and no real scaling plans, Tesla could match that in a day and a half using just the Model Y line at Giga Texas. And that's before you even mentioned the Cybercab, Tesla's purpose-built robotaxi that will be in mass production long before Waymo gets anywhere near real scale. Waymo also revealed its new 6th-generation robotaxi, a partnership with Chinese EV maker Zeekr. It's loaded with 13 cameras, 4 LiDAR, 6 radar, plus audio sensors. But here's the catch. They didn't say how many they'll make, how fast, or what it'll cost, especially with 100% tariffs on Chinese EV imports. That's a regulatory brick wall Tesla doesn't have to deal with. Today, we'll break down why Waymo's headlines look big, but Tesla's ability to scale hardware, software, and fleet production makes this battle far more one-sided than it appears. And we've got Brian White here with us today. He's one of the experts in this area, one of the best Tesla retail analysts. You got to check out his YouTube channel, FutureAza. He gets exclusive factory tours and interviews. Welcome, Brian.
Great to be here. This is very much in my wheelhouse, and I appreciate that you got so many of the important points in the intro so we can just get to the meat of it.
Yeah, get to the meat. Here's a great chart that was released recently by Waymo. Actually, I don't know who made this. Actually, Timothy might have put it together. But basically, taking together what everybody said. So recently, Waymo just announced they plan to expand to Minneapolis, Tampa, and New Orleans. And he said this is an updated map. Now, they didn't say 2026, so he put them in 2027 later. That's fair. That's probably very likely. Minneapolis will likely require state legislation, so it gets a question mark. And I think in my mind, I've been hearing Waymo making all of these announcements, literally once a week. They've been saying, we're going to be in this new city, and we're going to be in these 3 new cities. And though it's more of just getting it out there, trying to get the public to hear. A lot of this may not even happen, but basically, here's where we are. In green, that's commercial service. So Waymo is already in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Phoenix, Austin, and Atlanta. And a couple of weeks ago, they said that they're already in Miami. So this actually should be green at this point. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then they got 4 more where they got driverless testing. Looks like you've got it in Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, and Orlando are being tested. So these 4 should be added in quick succession. So you'll have 10 total. And then the yellows are expected in 2026. So you got San Diego, Las Vegas, Denver, Detroit, Nashville, maybe Washington, D.C. And then the browns are later. New Orleans, Buffalo, Boston, Minneapolis, and Seattle. See, we even have Seattle there. They made that announcement, Brian, but we're not expecting that this year. Thoughts on these expansion plans?
Well, you've lived in Seattle, greater Seattle area for quite some time. How long have you been seeing Waymo's testing in Seattle? Has it been over 10 years?
For me, it was 4, but I think you said you have seen it for 10 years, right?
I don't remember. It's been forever. I was so excited when I first found out that they had vehicles testing in Seattle. This is happening, man. This is real. This is coming any minute. And now I'm much older. I don't know what happened, but look at me, Herbert. So this is, I'm excited for Waymo. I'm excited for what they're doing. Their plan has a few problems, and the problems aren't the number of cities. The number of cities is fine. If you could actually grow into all of these cities, I think you would have a good starting point. But you'd still have a bunch of real operational hurdles behind the scenes that I know we're going to talk about next.
Yeah. So the 2 big ones is how many cars? How many cars can you have? And so they're making announcements like crazy as if they're everywhere. First of all, this is fantastic news for Tesla, isn't it? Because if they think they truly are in these cities, that means Tesla can follow, and they've got regulation already paved the way. They just copy that regulation and you're good to go. So,
but if we're looking at 20 cities and 2,000 cars, that's not enough cars. That's 10 cars per city. I see a problem here? And it's like, well, no, but we've already made plans for our 2026 acquisitions. How many cars are they adding in 2026? A
Yeah,
1,000?
we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
That's the big issue.
that's the big
So,
issue.
you know, even Timothy himself says this puts a lot of pressure on Tesla. So these people look at that map and going, look, Tesla, you're in trouble. If Waymo can get to driverless, including on freeways, which they already announced that they can do next year, their manufacturing edge could be decisive. I don't know if he's talking about Waymo's manufacturing edge. By 2027, Waymo will have a presence in most major cities, and it'll be hard for Tesla to catch up. I don't
Ah,
understand that. Their
ah.
manufacturing edge is, he's thinking Waymo has a manufacturing edge?
No, yeah, they're. Well, I don't honestly. I don't know what he's saying. Waymo doesn't have manufacturing, so it doesn't make sense in that context. Waymo will have a presence in most major cities, and it'll be hard for Tesla to catch up. No, it won't. If you have a better product, you win. If your product costs half the competition, you win. That's it. That's the whole story. So the question is, will a Cybercab cost less than a Waymo? And there is no way to work the equation where the answer comes out to anything other than, of course, the Cybercab is going to be cheaper significantly. It's already cheaper at every step.
Yeah, you have tremendous deep inside knowledge about the Cybercab. We'll get there when we compare it to the new vehicle that Waymo's now going to start talking about, the Zeekr. But let's stick to the topic of how many cars can Waymo actually produce. Brent Winton of ARK Invest said this. Here's a way to think about this. Imagine Tesla doesn't commercialize robotaxi driver out until late 2026. Fine, you're right. Drivers, Tesla's slower. Although Waymo took years before they took the driver out, right? The extra person in the car. But let's say that late 2026, that's a whole year away from now. Waymo would enter 2027 with what? He said 6,000 vehicles because they have 2,500 today. And then they basically are going to upfit the remaining Jaguars I-Paces that they have. Jaguar I-Pace decided they're no longer create that model. They sold to Waymo the remaining numbers, which is like 1,500 or something like that. So they might have another 500 of that. Now they partner with Zeekr to create the rest. Let's say that a year from now, 2027, they're able to make 3,000 of those. Okay.
There's actually a Hyundai in between. Okay. There's a Hyundai generation in between that will be US built. So that's a small improvement.
What's your number? What's your number of how many Waymos could be out by entering 2027, late 2026, a year from now?
So if whatever they've got today plus about 2,000 would be charitable.
Right.
So short of 6,000, I'd say 4-ish, maybe 5.
Exactly.
And I agree. I think Brett Winton is being truthful. He's giving Waymo the best possible shot in his assumption. It's not going to exceed 6,000. I'll take the under on that bet.
Yeah.
And while Hyundai can make cars more efficiently than Magna-built I-Paces from Switzerland, or the hassle of importing Zeekrs from China, with or without the upfit already done, it's going to be a real, there's just no path to scaling.
They would have to take these vehicles from Hyundai and Zeekr and then uplift them, put them all of these upfit, put all these LiDARs and everything into them. That takes them as much time as it takes Tesla to create a whole new car. That's a day and a half of robotaxi output from Tesla's Austin Model Y line. In this future,
it's
do
not
you really
that
think?
much. Austin's Model Y line is not that productive, but it's still inconsequential.
2 days to make 6,000?
Austin only runs one shift, so I don't know.
Okay.
But it's still, it's more like US-Y production for a day and a half. But
Gotcha.
still, it's an inconsequential amount. You would literally just, you wouldn't even add another shift to make these vehicles. You would just give a couple hours of overtime and just make a few extra every day. That's it.
Yep. So it says here, in the future, do you think a consumer is going to be so brand loyal to Waymo that they'll be willing to wait 10 minutes for a Waymobile when a Tesla robotaxi is 2 minutes away? It's all about volume and price, right? That's for ride share. It's about volume. How many cars are out there? Because if you have more cars, the quicker you get a car available for you, and then the price. And right now, Waymo's killing Tesla. If you go to Austin or California, you can get a Waymo faster, but that's temporary. Once they get, that's the whole thing. It's like nothing gradual, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's going to be 1,000 Teslas in that city as quickly as they need to. So this is the Waymo's new generation Zeekr. Before we get there, can you tell me about Hyundai then? What was your comment there?
So with Hyundai, they're going about it all wrong, just like they have with everything. They're taking an expensive car, adding expenses to it, taking the time it takes. Great, it's made in the US instead of Switzerland or China, but it's still shipped to Arizona where Magna does the upfit. That costs Shipping it there costs a lot of money. The upfit costs a lot of money. The time is substantial. Well, it doesn't matter. We're only doing a couple thousand. Aha, there it is. If you're starting with a vehicle that costs that much, you're already at a tremendous disadvantage. And I've shared the math with you on it before, but I'll share it again when we get to the Zeekr, because that's where it looks even worse.
I mean, that's the point, isn't it? That today, when you go Waymo, oh my God, they're in all these cities. They solved the robotaxi. They're already showing you that they're so far ahead of Tesla, it's going to be hard for Tesla to catch up. But Waymo doesn't have cars. And what they do have cars. Look at these guys. No, they buy those cars. So if they have to buy them, they have to upfit them and so forth. It takes all that time. They're not scaling them unless they've already partnered with a company like Zeekr and says, okay, I need you to make $1 million a year, 100,000 a year, whatever. And let's get a production line going. That has not been announced. And the reason is Waymo has to pay Zeekr. Zeekr hasn't stood up and said, I'll sell the car. I'll make money in the robotaxi with you. We'll share the cut. They haven't said that. Right now, it's Waymo buying the cars. Okay, so let's take a look at this new 6th generation robotaxi hardware. An all-electric, what's the RT? Van?
Robotaxi?
From Chinese EV company Zeekr. So the van has 10 tiny 3-inch windshield wipers to clean all the sensors. That's so cute. That's great. That's important. The spray nozzles draw from a single central reservoir. So they figured out how to clean all their sensors. But look at this. They got 13 cameras. 13. That's great. More cameras, the better. 4 LiDAR. Fantastic. LiDAR. More LiDARs, the better. 6 radar. An array of external audio receivers.
Can't have too many.
Photos. So, this is great. Look at this. This is how it charged in the front. First of all, I like the van. I think the van is a great form factor because you got the elevator doors.
Yes,
I like that. I love that. That's easy ingress, outgress for people. It's got the huge hat on. It's got these huge side mirrors. Look at how big this is. Massive. Wow. What does that cost to uplift this? Upfit, you call it.
Well, and what does it do to your aero? What does it do to pedestrian safety? And if that hat was any bigger, I'd swear it was the Pope.
The Pope. Those cute little, but I like this actually. The little
itty bitty windshield wipers.
It's important. It's important. Cleaning. It's important. So, what do you think about this vehicle?
I love it. It's like you said, it's a great form factor. It is a one size fits all, which is to say it's baggy. It's too big. You can fit one person in there. You can fit 5, probably maybe 6 people in there. Unknown at this point what configuration they'll actually go with. But there are cost issues because this is a Zeekr mix. It's a real car that they really sell, that people really buy today. You're taking a car that costs a bunch of money, and instead of a Cybercab, which just starts at 0 and only adds the things it needs, this starts at 100 and then adds more to that. So you end up with a bunch of stuff on here that you would never want in a robotaxi, things you don't need in a robotaxi. The wiring harness itself is overly complicated because it's designed for human engagement in ways that a robotaxi never would have them. And that philosophy is true all the way down. The suspension is designed to carry substantial lateral G's in corners because sometimes people drive that way. A robotaxi isn't, because a robotaxi will never drive that way. So you're starting with a vehicle that's likely to cost before tariffs, 50 grand. Then you've got your tariffs, as you pointed out, 100%. And I've seen people say, well, that's only if you sell them. No. That's just, you pay them upon import. You're paying that tariff either way. And then you have to upfit. Well, we could pay someone to upfit it in China. Okay, but you still have to pay for it. And then you have to pay 100% tariff on that added value. So either way, you're spending a fortune. And if you're going to be spending 100 grand on each one, where a robotaxi costs 25,000, Tesla would be able to, just from a financial perspective, field 4 times as many for the same revenue. But more importantly, they would, your drive, your cost for just the vehicle goes up 4-fold. You've got a less efficient vehicle. You've got a less efficient drivetrain. You're pulling more watt hours per mile. And worst of all, I looked it up. The compute in a Waymo is estimated between 500 and 1,000 watts of power. 1,000 watts. You could drive your Cybercab 5-6 miles at that pace. 5 or 6 miles worth of driving just to equal the compute for an hour in a Waymo. That's bonkers, man. How on earth are you going to compete? And then it pulls into the depot and we got to clean it. You know what it takes to clean a real van versus a Cybercab versus basically a bumper car? Do you know what it takes to clean a bumper car? A wet rag. That's it. We're done. That's it. No steam cleaners, no nonsense. No digging through the cracks to find Cheetos. You're just done. So everything that makes the Cybercab elegant is what's absent from the Zeekr.
Nice.
I love it.
Nice point.
It's the wrong tool for the job.
That's a very good point. So if you agree, then I think that's a stat that 95% of all robotaxi rides, all ride-hail rides is 1 or 2 people, right? 1 person?
I've heard numbers anywhere as low as 80, 85, 88%, but I've heard them as high as 90 and above.
Yep.
And I would agree with that absolutely. I can't remember the last time I was in a rideshare with more than one other person.
And so this, settling on this form factor as going to be the future of their vehicles, unless they make more announcements, we don't know yet. And every time they make an announcement, you have to assume they're 3 years away or 2 years away if they're very lucky. But this idea of going after this form factor, getting the 4, you made all these great points about why this is going to be so much more expensive. It's heavier, it's bigger, it's got cleaning issues, it's got charging issues. Maybe charging's better because you got bigger batteries, who knows. But, Tesla can also offer robotaxi rides on Model X's. Right?
Yes.
They can also offer it on Cybertrucks. They can also offer it on Model 3s, Model Ys, and Cybercabs. So they've got every lineup of any size. So if you do want this car like this big, then you can order a Model X. Right?
One size fits all is the ideal solution when you don't have different sizes. Tesla has different sizes.
Yeah, and then the Cybercab, so can you just, I know a lot of our audience already aware of it, but go quickly through this, why this is Cybercab is such a revolutionary product.
If you start from, and this is what Tesla loves to do, you ask the question, if the product we're designing didn't exist today, how would we design it? Well, if there's not going to be a human driver, you can cut out a lot of things. You don't need a high torque, high horsepower motor. You don't want throw me back in my seat acceleration. You can build a smaller, lighter, cheaper motor that does a comfortable ride every time. In terms of the suspension, you don't need something that can handle the high G's in a racetrack, but even just spirited driving. You don't want a Cybercab that's going to throw you around in the car in any direction. You still need good brakes, but they don't need to be track brakes. They just need to be able to stop aggressively once without overheating, because you're not going to be doing that more than once per week, probably. Then with all that, now you can do a smaller battery. Smaller battery is going to save you money. It's going to save you weight. It's a virtue cycle. Everything gets lighter. And then you go to everything. Well, these panels are going to fade, but they ship pre-painted for easy replacement. Are they going to match? Who cares? It's a taxi. Doesn't matter. skip that step entirely. Skip the paint. It's expensive. Tom Jew said that to Matthew Donegan Ryan at the event a couple years ago. Paint is expensive. We're going to try and avoid it. So everything, the tires are not rated for speeds above 90 miles an hour because the vehicle will never go that fast. The tires are now cheaper. The wheels, same thing. They're not designed for heavy loads in odd directions. The wheels are now cheaper. Every single thing is designed with this in mind. And what you end up with is a very efficient, very affordable vehicle that can last forever. And we know it's going to last forever because Tesla plans to keep them and own them themselves, and they don't want to be fixing them either.
Yeah. Mic drop. Thank you for that. And obviously, I think you mentioned earlier, designed for cleaning, right? Just, blow it. There's no crevices, easier to just blow everything up and inside.
How many pieces of glass does your car have? And I don't mean you. I know how many yours has. I mean, you at home, go and count it. You got the windshield, the side window, maybe little flag mirrors. The back window is probably 2 pieces on each side. The back window, maybe you've got a sunroof or panoramic glass. 9, 10, 12 pieces of glass. This car has 3 pieces of glass. That's it. Do you know how little cleaning there is? Well, why don't I have a panoramic glass? Because it adds to the heating and cooling load, because it adds to the cleaning. There's no fingerprints visible on a cloth roof. Everything. They thought of everything.
Yeah, and we talked about this earlier. The 2 most important, number 1 and 2, that people choose for ride hail: price and then availability.
Accessibility. Yeah, availability.
And so if you can hit price, which is who can do the most dollar less, cents per mile lower, because everything's cheaper, and then who can create the most volume when these are created like Legos, get them out there, versus one of these things. Massive.
Let's take 150,000 miles of usable life. The Zeekr is going to cost 75,000 more at 50% utilization. They should be higher than that, but at 50% utilization, that means the Zeekr costs $1 more per mile just for the cost of acquisition. $1 a mile extra because you bought in a car that's way more expensive than I need. That's terrible. Then the energy per mile, the cleaning, the energy per mile, the fact that the Zeekr is probably not going to go past 150,000 unless it's prohibitively expensive to replace and then you're going to repair it, where the Cybercab probably would. Everything, just everything. There's a million little pieces to break on a warranty repair for a Cybercab. There's so few pieces. What is there to break? Everything's going to be in stock. Swap it out this afternoon.
Mic drops. You're the best person to talk about this stuff. Love it, Brian. It's just great. I want to go back to this this image here. People say, look at all the cities that Waymo's in. It's going to be hard for Tesla to catch up. Problem is, when they launch in a city, when they only have a couple thousand, a couple hundred per city, it's easier for them to put the infrastructure in place. Okay, where do you charge it? Where do you clean it? Where do you service it? Who takes care of the vehicles when you're trying to decide what to do? And Tesla already has service centers and sales centers all over the country, all over the world, basically. Waymo doesn't. In one city, they partner with Avis or Hertz, one of them, to do the cleaning. In another one, there was this other vendor that they chose to do it. They're testing to see, how do they do this? With small numbers, they can do it. But in order for them to truly roll out, they will have to build these infrastructure. Where do you charge these things? Tesla has charging it everywhere. Where do they charge this? And Tesla will send their cars to be charged at the service centers, because at the service centers, the sales centers, they already have charging all over the place.
Well, and most importantly, at a service center, they have enough juice to the site. What I imagine they would do is, out in the back, in the driveway where no one goes, you would have just pads on the pavement, and they would pull up
wireless,
and it would just they would just roll through like an assembly line, just pull to the front. When it's got enough juice, it leaves, and they all just keep moving forward one spot as needed, because they've got the juice and they've got the space. And Waymo's going to have to contract. And because Waymos don't have inductive charging, you do have to pay a dude to run around and plug and unplug cars. That's money. That's extra money. That's something either investors or customers or both will have to pay for. It's just one more inefficiency.
I don't know. I guess a lot of people just assume that Waymo's going to win this game. We've kind of tried to do our way to analyze and value. Are we wrong? Are we wrong? Because people think we're wrong.
Yes. So on that graphic you showed, it was weird. It said left-leaning cities might stand in the way. I haven't seen any. I mean, isn't San Francisco left-leaning? Los Angeles left-leaning? I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a political issue. I think
No.
the only politics we've seen so far is Boston, which I think is just general corruption. I don't know what it is, but they're saying, oh, we don't want anything autonomous in Boston. Yeah, but they are the exception, not the rule. If a car costs $1 a mile more, if you want to stand up for your principles and it costs you an extra $50 to get home from the airport.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
your price is pretty easy. People
a
know
90% in the middle don't care.
Saving. What's this argument? The other argument I've heard, Gary Black, who's one of the analysts, has said this. He said, oh, Waymo is going to license their technology to all the other car makers. So yes, this is a test. They only have 2,500 today. By next year, they'll have thousands because they'll just license it. What do you think about that concept?
I think Gary is hilariously misinformed. An automaker can't build that. It's going to have to go through crash testing. It's going to have to go through all the safety regulations. In the US, you can upfit a vehicle to be anything after it's sold. You can make a pickup truck be kind of a monster truck in almost every state. There are some rules, some places, but not really. If you build a car in your garage, you can license it. The US is the real Wild West in that way. But if a manufacturer wants to sell a car, the rules are very different. All of that stuff. And can you picture Ford saying, oh, I love it. Let's put this giant travel case on top of every car with these they look like concert speakers hanging off the back. They're not going to do that. That's ludicrous. And even if they did, it would take them years. And then who gets the money? Because Waymo does have operators back at headquarters. Is Waymo going to eat that cost? Is Ford going to eat that? I mean, come on. There's too many pieces of the puzzle missing. And I don't know. Does Gary have a team of analysts? Because it doesn't feel like he does.
No, he doesn't. I mean, so the other thing too, I think you just touched on it. Just want to repeat what you're saying here, is that this design is not something that you're going to sell to customers. This is something you're going to create specifically for the robotaxi kind of business. Versus Tesla can create any car they want. It can become a robotaxi, but if they're not able to sell it as a robotaxi, then they just sell it to customers. So that is volume. That's called volume, right? It means you can make 5 million of them and sell half to customers and half to robotaxi, versus Waymo can only make 2.5 because they're going to only make it just for robotaxi.
Very good point. Where is the economy of scale on this vehicle? Once you get past, the traditional car part of it, everything you add on will never reach economies of scale. Even if you're doing 10,000, 20,000 a year, which they have not announced plans to do, you are not going to get the kind of volume pricing auto manufacturers get.
Perfect. Mic drops all over the place. Appreciate you so much, Brian. You have tremendous knowledge. You have the most knowledge, I think, of certainly the Cybercab, and I appreciate you sharing that today. Follow Brian on his FutureAza show. He's got deep dives on the Cybercab, lots of them, and a lot of the Chinese car makers as well. You've done that, and of course, you've had this Are They Doomed series on every single major legacy auto. Maybe it's time for you to redo some of them because the world has changed in the last month. Appreciate you. And yes, they are doomed, dude. You can ask the question, but we know your answer already. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.